Hi, I'm Maggie. Welcome to Experiments in Crafting. Tonight I'm going to be unboxing a new crochet subscription service by Leither Co. I came across this on Facebook, and it's a hook and yarn and pattern, and I don't know what all is in here, but I'm pretty excited to unbox this. And then I've got a whole big bag of yarn from a recent Joann fabric shopping trip. My sister lives on the eastern part of Illinois, and they're not too far from Cherville, Indiana. And Cherville, for some reason, has like one of the best Joann fabrics around my area. If you go onto Joann's website and they have new yarn, the Cherville, Indiana store and the Naperville, Illinois store are the only two that get like every single brand new yarn. So I stopped by that store. It's absolutely enormous. It's got like 6 aisles of yarn, and bought a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have at my local Joann Fabric. So I'm going to show some of that off. And so let's just get started. And if you have any comments, just go ahead and leave those in the chat, and I'll try and answer any questions that you might have. All right. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and unbox this. And so I have not even opened this. I got home from work today, and it was sitting here. One second. I don't have chat shown on my side. All right, so let's see what we've got here. So I've got a card here. It says February. The crochet hook is a 9mm. The pattern is the Scarlet Wrap. The yarn is Leither Co. And the splurge item is a stitch marker bangle. So this is the deluxe box. So the pattern looks like it is a headband in sort of a red, white, and pink. And that's to be made with this very pretty red, white, and pink yarn. This colorway is XOXO. It says it is superwash merino, 20% nylon, or sorry, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's super bulky yarn, 100 grams, 76 yards. It has a very nice feel, and actually my hands are really dry, so for it to feel very nice means that it must be ultra nice. And then I also have a hook in the box, which I'll open in just a second. And there's stitch markers here. And of course, these are crochet stitch markers. I mean, they could be used for knitting as well. But because this is a crochet subscription, they do make sure that everything is usable in crochet, it looks like. So it has stitch markers that open. So there's a pretty little tree. A key with a heart on top. And a skein of yarn on a big pin. And these pins are really nice for shawl pins. So that's also a nice little bonus there. And then also in the bottom of the box, it looks like there's a sticker that says Get Hooked, which is kind of cool. And it's all just packaged really nicely in this little box. All right, so to open the hook, so this subscription service is kind of focused around the hook. The hooks, I guess, are handmade by the woman who runs this' husband. So her and her husband, she probably dyes the yarn, he does the hooks, and they send out the patterns. And so the subscription service, I think, is relatively new. It's very new to me. This is the first month I've ever gotten it. So I'm pretty excited to see what we've got in here. And I went with the, I don't remember what the name of the subscription service is, but it's the one where you get wooden hooks instead of getting bright and colorful. There are two options. I think the bright and colorful one was called like Funfetti or Confetti or something like that. So this is a 9mm hook. It looks like it's an inline hook, which is not my first choice, but you can see. Move some stuff out of the way here so you can see this a little bit better. All right. So that's that. It's pretty exciting. There are very few services that cater to crocheters. So when I saw this, I immediately subscribed. I believe that the box so it was yarn, the hook, the pattern, some bonus stitch markers, and a sticker. I think the subscription service was $40 shipped. I may be a little bit off on that, but if you find Leither Co.'s website, you can see all of their options. They did give the option of doing just yarn or just the pattern or just the hook too. So you could kind of pick and choose if you wanted just one of those things if the $40 is outside your budget. So I'm pretty excited for this service. I did do Yarn Box for a while, and then they sort of went out of business. So I've been looking for another service, but a lot of them are really knitter focused. I did find one that focused on socks, but of course those are knit socks and they came with knitting patterns, and so it just really wasn't for me. But overall, very happy with this. This is really nice feeling yarn, and I don't actually have much in super bulky weight, so is it back? Okay. All right. Hopefully the sound is back working again. So again, this was Red Heart Pomp-a-doodle. And again, look for future reviews or for possible tutorials on that. The next one I've got is Premier Puzzle, and this is in the color Connect the Dots. This is a pretty interesting yarn. It's very different like throughout. We saw some balls that basically looked solid purple, and you couldn't tell at all really that it had all this green and red in it. So this is kind of interesting. I'm curious to see how this works up. This is a pretty large ball of yarn. It's a number 5 bulky weight. It comes in 200-gram balls. It's 328 yards or 300 meters. And they recommend a 6mm or US J hook, it looks like. So that's that. On this yarn here, this is a number 7 jumbo yarn. I guess that's probably just nominal because you've got pom-poms and then what's actually a pretty thin thread compared to the size of the pom-poms. They recommend a 9mm M hook on this, and yardage and weight are going to be kind of arbitrary, but it is a 100-gram ball, and it says you get 14 yards. So, all right. Oh, somebody's asking about the Blue Box. So the Blue Box was a brand new subscription service that I came across on Facebook. This is, so I got yarn and a crochet hook, like that. Crochet hook. And then it also came with a pattern to use the crochet hook and the yarn together. Some stitch markers and a sticker. And so one of the things I was really excited about with this subscription service when I found it was that it's crochet oriented. So you get a crochet hook and a crochet pattern, and it's not a knitting subscription service. So if you have any more questions about that, I can try and answer those. But I just found this the other day, and it just got to my house today. So really, that's the reason I'm doing this live stream, is because I was excited to unbox this, and I thought I'd share it with you. So, also in my bag from Joann, I got a bunch of Premier Sweet Roll. And I'm hoping that I can make some sort of baby blanket out of this because it's really pretty color. This is Raspberry Swirl. I know Premier Sweet Roll has been around a little while. And so it's been around for a little while, but I haven't really worked with it before. I just came across some Premier yarns recently. Most recently, I did a review of the Parfait Layers. Then I picked up some DK Colors, which I am going to be reviewing and working up a blanket pattern in that. And I've been really happy overall with their yarns, so I thought I would try out a few more of them. So I got Puzzle and Sweet Roll, and then I also picked up some of the Premier Everyday Tartan, which I had never seen before. Again, I was at that Joann fabric that really had a lot more yarn than my local one does. So this one I think is a color pooling yarn, and so as you work it, it works into a plaid pattern. You can sort of see that on the label here that the lady's wearing like a plaid scarf. So I'm interested to see how this works up. I don't know if this is a knitting specific pattern, so I need to look around the internet and see what people have done with this. It might just be that I can do it in a crochet moss stitch because it sort of looks like a knit moss stitch on the label. So we'll see how this goes, and again, keep your eyes out for a review or possible tutorial on that, depending on how it goes. I got some regular Premier Everyday in I don't have feet over here. All right, I got some regular Premier Everyday in bright violet. This is almost neon, and it was such a cool color that I sort of just had to buy it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. Maybe make a cowl or possibly a matched set, but I'm like a cowl and a hat or something like that. It should go pretty well with my hair. But it was just such a bright, fun color. It's a pretty nice feeling acrylic yarn, so we'll see what it wants to become, and maybe do, again, some reviews or tutorials on that, just depending on how it goes. I also picked up a couple of pom-poms in bright colors. I did get a number of pom-poms when Bergner's, which is the same as Carson's, went out of business around here. And they had a whole bunch that were designed for shoes. And so I picked up a bunch of those, but I didn't have any in like super bright fun colors. And these ones are really gigantic. So I got a few of these. These were a little bit pricey. They're listed at $5.99. I think they were 50% off on sale, but even so, that adds kind of a lot to the price of the hat if you do get these, but they're pretty cool. So got those. And then the last thing that I got was some Red Heart Scrubby. So this is Scrubby, and Scrubby Cotton. I am in the process of getting together a quick tutorial and a review on Red Heart Scrubby, the entire line. So there's Scrubby, Scrubby Cotton, Scrubby Sparkle, and Scrubby Smoothie, I think. And so I will have a review out on those very quickly, and then a tutorial right behind it on just how to make a quick little circular dishcloth. But I got these colors. I think I'm going to try and do something bee related. So whether that's a bee-shaped dishcloth or what I end up doing with it, but that's what these colors were intended for. Again, Scrubby is a yarn that's been out for a while, but these colors were just kind of jumped out at us, and we decided something bee related might be fun. Okay. So I think there's a couple questions, so I'm just going to kind of read those and answer. Where did I get the pom-pom yarn? Again, this is all from Joann Fabric, except for the box over here. All of the yarn over here is from Joann Fabric. This is a Red Heart pomp-a-doodle. And like I said, I haven't seen this anywhere before. But the Joann Fabric in Cherville, Indiana, for whatever reason, seems to be much, much better stocked. Maybe that's just a really big area or big market for them. So they just seem to be much better stocked. And so when I was up in Northwest Indiana, I was able to get some stuff that I didn't previously have access to. I'm sure that you can order any of these things on Joann Fabric's website or from the vendor directly. So I'm sure Red Heart has this and Premier has this on their website. But yeah, so yeah, I got a lot of stuff that I haven't seen before. I did see somebody said that their Joann doesn't have it. Mine doesn't either, or at least not my local one. I was up visiting my sister this weekend, so that's why I was up near Northwest Indiana and was able to look at some stuff that I don't normally get to see. So I know this was kind of a short live stream, but again, my big goal here was to show off this box. I'm not affiliated with the company or anything, but I was excited that I got the subscription box in the mail, and I thought it was pretty cool to be able to get something just designed for crocheters. So I thought I'd unbox it with you, and I had done some shopping, so I thought I'd share that with you as well. Galaxy blanket tutorial. That sounds pretty interesting. I can see what I can come up with and maybe come up with some sort of blanket tutorial. I do like galaxy things. That's kind of the decorations you see behind me. My curtains are galaxy printed, and my yarn bowl is galaxy printed. I've actually considered doing a tutorial on how to make the yarn bowl with the galaxy paint, so I don't know if that's something that people would be interested in. A couple of years ago, my sister bought me a unpainted, like an unfinished ceramic yarn bowl on Amazon. You can get them for like $25 or something, and then you could just paint it yourself. So I got acrylic paint and did a whole galaxy theme to it. And so I don't think, oh yeah, actually it's right behind me. If I can move without tangling up. Here, I'll show it off. So I galaxy painted it. I did a whole bunch of different colors, and then I speckled it with white. And then what might not be super easy to see is that it's all covered in black, really ultra fine black glitter. And then I spray painted the whole outside with clear spray paint. So that's my yarn bowl. I did chip it right here at one point, but it's held up pretty well. It's been a couple years. What else? Somebody's asking about this. This is a very similar to Knit Crate, but not Knit Crate. It's run by a husband and wife, and it's from a place called Leither Co. I would guess that's probably a last name, but it's entirely crochet related. So it's you get a crochet hook. If you get the deluxe box, you get a crochet hook, hand-dyed yarn, a pattern, and this box came with some little stitch markers and a sticker. So it seems pretty cool. I haven't had I just unboxed it tonight, so I haven't had an opportunity to work up the pattern or work with the yarn or anything like that. But just on initial inspection, everything seems very nice. I believe that the hooks are hand-turned by the husband, and the yarn is hand-dyed by the wife as part of the team. So, yeah, if there are any additional questions, I will stick around for a couple minutes and answer what I can. I've been kind of curious as to whether you guys would be interested if I was to do this more regularly without much agenda. So a lot of times I just do these when I'm unboxing or I'm blocking or something like that. But if I just worked on a crochet project and, you know, had a cup of tea and just kind of streamed with you and answered questions, if that would be something you guys would be interested in. So if you are interested in that, or you don't think that's something you're interested in, I'd love to hear some feedback on that. You can leave that in the comment section below, or in the chat while we're live streaming. When did I get started crocheting? So I started crocheting about, I would say about 6 years ago or so. My grandma crocheted my entire childhood, and I was left-handed, and she tried a couple times to teach me left-handed, and it just didn't really work out. And so as an adult, I just decided I wanted to crochet and worked on it for a while, and turns out I crochet right-handed. And I say I crochet right-handed. I crochet with my hook in my right hand. I sort of think that crochet is a two-handed thing, and so I do a lot of wrapping with my left hand, and just sort of hold the hook in my right hand. So if you watch my tutorials, you may notice that I do a lot more with my left hand than most people, and that's why. As far as knitting, I can cast on and I can do the knit stitch, and that's about it. And even that I can't do well. So I've tried a couple times to learn to knit, and I'm just not very good at it. And there's so many things that I want to crochet that I just haven't haven't really put the effort into learning to knit better because I just don't, I guess, not that I don't have time to learn to knit, but I always keep finding more crochet projects that I want to get done, and knitting sort of gets put on the back burner. I'm guessing you mean my favorite crochet item. I probably make mostly shawls and like small scarves. That's usually my go-to project is 100-gram fingering weight shawl. So fingering weight would be a number 2 weight. It's just the weight of yarn that I like to work with, and one of the easiest things is to make a 100-gram shawl. You get a 100-gram ball and you just use the whole thing in one shawl. And that's probably my favorite and most commonly made project. As far as pattern, probably the one that I've made most is the Fortune Shawlette from Moogly Blog. I've probably made about 7 or 8 of those at this point. If you look at my review on Lion Brand Shawl and a Cake, the pattern that I worked up in that is the Fortune Shawlette. It's a super simple variation on a corner-to-corner pattern. And like I said, I've made that one probably like 7 times at this point. I don't even usually need to look at the pattern, just for the edging, really. So, all right. Well, if there are no other questions, I think we'll wrap things up for tonight. And again, if you think you'd be interested in seeing live stream more often and just with no agenda, just sort of ask and answer crochet questions, or yarn questions. I can't really, as I said, I don't knit much, so I can't really answer many knitting questions, but I can certainly answer generic yarn questions. But yeah, otherwise, have a good night, and thanks for watching.